Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're handing you what is essentially a paradigm-shifting playbook for artificial intelligence and product management. Our goal is simple, but honestly, it's totally transformative. We want to help you step away from being a reactive feature factory and really step into the role of a strategic, problem-first AI product manager. Let's dive right in with a pretty tough question. Are you falling into the trap of deploying massive, resource-heavy machine learning models for weird edge cases that, honestly, simple rule-based logic could fix? You know, in this massive gold rush to AI-enable every single feature, it is incredibly easy to spend 6 months building a complex LLM pipeline for a task that a dozen regex rules could have handled in a single afternoon. So ask yourself, are you building a sledgehammer when you really just need a scalpel? Here is our roadmap for today. 1. The vague AI mandate trap. 2. The problem framing superpower. 3. Real-world problem framing examples. 4. How AI breaks traditional sizing. 5. New opportunity sizing methods. And 6. Build what actually matters. Section 1. The vague AI mandate trap. The pressure to just do something with AI. This is a trap almost every enterprise falls into today, and jumping straight to an LLM pipeline because of it is a fatal error. Albert Einstein actually hit the nail on the head when he said, "If I had an hour to solve a problem, I'd spend 55 minutes thinking about the problem and 5 minutes thinking about solutions." In the AI era, clearly defining the boundaries of your problem, that is your absolute superpower. It's the only thing that prevents you from building technically impressive features that literally nobody actually uses. There is such a stark contrast between these two mindsets. A technology-first approach says, hey, we need to add an LLM to our product. That is a solution desperately searching for a problem. On the flip side, a problem-first approach starts with, okay, our users have a specific unmet need, treating AI as just one of many potential tools to unlock that value. Section 2. The problem framing superpower, treating AI as a scalpel. So how do we actually put this into practice? Well, the Design Sprint Academy breaks it down into 5 actionable phases. First, you have to make that vague top-down mandate visible to everyone. Second, map all those scattered ideas to actual, concrete business goals. Third, find the real human problem by looking closely at customer journeys. Fourth, generate grounded what-if opportunities. And finally, synthesize and prioritize the use cases. This whole process completely shifts the conversation from what can AI do to what should AI do to create real value. And the best part? You do all of this before a single line of code is written. Here's the thing. High-leverage PMs use AI strictly as a scalpel. Think about spam detection for a second. Roughly 85% of those cases are so blatant they can be caught by simple, straightforward keyword matching. Strategic PMs, they scope AI only for the highly ambiguous 15% of edge cases. By validating rule-based logic first, every single time, you drastically reduce operational costs, latency, and the immense technical debt of maintaining a really heavy model. Section 3. Real-world problem framing examples, when framing determines fate. Let's ground this in reality by comparing Salesforce Einstein's initial launch with Klarna's massive recent AI success. Salesforce kind of started with that technology-first frame. How do we add AI to our CRM? And sure, it resulted in technically impressive features, but they saw incredibly low adoption, sometimes under 20%, because they just didn't solve urgent user pain points. Klarna, however, used a problem-first frame. Instead of asking how to make human agents more efficient, they asked, wait, why does a customer checking a payment status need to talk to a human at all? They completely reframed it as a proactive data retrieval problem. And the results of Klarna reframing the problem? Absolutely staggering. By accurately defining the problem around Tier 1 query deflection, they deployed an AI that handled the equivalent workload of 700 full-time human agents. And that was just in its very first month. That is the power of getting the frame right. Section 4. How AI breaks traditional sizing. The math has changed. Now we need to pivot from qualitative strategy to quantitative math because AI fundamentally breaks traditional market sizing. You probably rely on TAM, SAM, and SUM as your go-to opportunity sizing metrics, right? But here's the catch. In the AI era, leaning on these legacy definitions, which are heavily based on existing software spend, will drastically miscalculate your product's potential. AI doesn't just take a slice of an existing pie, it bakes an entirely new one. There are actually 6 specific ways AI distorts these standard estimates. For instance, AI creates what we call value transfer by capturing displaced labor costs, not just traditional software budgets. It creates totally new consumption by making previously expensive tasks cheap. It also faces a strict quality threshold gate where the market literally only exists if the model is accurate enough. To size accurately, PMs absolutely must account for all of these, especially the ongoing inference cost floor, which dictates your viable margins.
Section 5. New Opportunity Sizing Methods. Measuring what matters.
Since traditional metrics kind of fail us here, we must adopt entirely new methods. Pay special attention to value-based sizing. Top-down and bottom-up methods definitely still have their place, but value-based sizing is by far the most defensible method for AI products that displace labor. It literally calculates the economic value of the human labor your product automates, modeling your revenue as a realistic fraction, usually around 10 to 30% of that displaced cost. To really put the sheer financial scale of getting this right into perspective, KPMG data reveals something wild. The average annual generative AI opportunity for an enterprise company, it's a staggering $136 million. This is a massive pool of value waiting to be unlocked, but only if you know exactly where to look. And this builds a really strong case for strategic phasing. Sure, the largest chunk of that $136 million, about $69 million, sits right there in high-complexity tasks. But a smart PM, they don't start there. You want to capture the low and medium complexity wins first. Grab that $12 million low-hanging fruit to prove your ROI, build trust, and fund your future initiatives.
Section 6. Build what actually matters. Ethics, risks, and human judgment.
Look, at the end of the day, as we manage these highly probabilistic models, we have to balance measuring business value with practical, real-world guardrails. Large language models completely lack experiential understanding and actual human judgment, so the governance falls entirely on you as the PM. You have to build systems that actively mitigate massive risks like algorithmic bias, confidently stated hallucinations, accidental copyright violations, and data exposure. AI is an amazing tool, but the accountability, that remains distinctly human.
So as we wrap up this explainer and you go evaluate your next AI opportunity, I want you to ask yourself, are you merely chasing the hype, or do you have the discipline to frame the true problem and strategically size the value you're about to create? Will you build a sledgehammer looking for a nail, or the precise scalpel your users actually need? Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.